practice questions. I feel like those are a non-negotiable. Let's talk anatomy. What's up everybody, my name is Daniel. I'm a nursing student in Southern California who goes to West Coast University. If you are a nursing student, a nurse, or anyone in a nursing field or is interested in nursing field, this is the right channel for you. In this video, I'm going to be talking about my experience in my anatomy class, how I studied for it, how it was structured, and any tips I can give on how to do well. I just have to say this because I am talking about one of their classes. I am not an official of West Coast University, and all of the views and things I'm about to share in this video are of my own. You may have different results. People who are watching this video may have had different experiences, but I just want to share with y'all what I went through. Let's get started with the video. Anatomy, right? The study of the body, all the different systems. You have digestive, you have cardiovascular, you have muscular, you have skeletal. The list goes on. I'll speak to the degree of how much exactly was covered, and you don't need to know like super detailed stuff. Now what I mean by that is, so you're going to need to know the cranial nerves, but how they travel in the body, you're not going to need to know in full detail what exactly that is. Alright, so I'm going to talk about how the content was distributed throughout the 10 weeks in our program. This anatomy class consisted of a lecture and a lab. You take them simultaneously. Starting with the assignments, you're going to have something called discussion boards. Now these discussion boards are something you do in every single class at West Coast University, where you're going to have a prompt. And this prompt, at least in this anatomy class, would talk about a whole article about the muscular system. And then one of the questions, depending on how detailed your professor might or might not be, one of the questions might be describe in detail fast versus slow twitch muscles, right? You know, so it's not something too complicated. One paragraph, and you have to cite your sources. At least for my class I had to. They have a whole database for you to search so that you can reference those. It's not hard at all. Honestly, each one probably took me like 30 minutes max, and I'm not even the best writer. You have to respond to 2 peers in these discussion board posts. You'll be able to see everybody in the class and what they said. Now, you can either agree, you can disagree, you can critique, whatever, add information to what your peer said. Or, you know, it's always something like,
"Great post, Daniel. It is true that in fast twitch muscles, blah, 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 blah."
Those are points towards your grade, mind you. So as long as you don't sound the same every single time and you're adding to the conversation, depending on how strict your professor is, they will give you partial or full credit. There's gonna be lab worksheets that you're gonna do. Big tip I have on this one is many people have done this lab worksheet before in the past. There may or may not be a Quizlet that might have some help to the people who are taking it right now. Yeah. I always tell this to everybody who studies anatomy, especially in an accelerated program. Yes, time is of the essence. Yes, time is valuable, and you don't want to burn yourself out. In the subject of anatomy, and this is my opinion, you can agree or disagree with me in the comments, you really have to know what you're looking at and understand it. There are a lot of people who can go onto Quizlet and just memorize and write down answers easily. As a student nurse and someone who's going to take care of patients, depending on whatever specialty you're trying to get into, I feel like you should know like a pretty solid foundation of anatomy. There's also another thing in the lab called Complete Anatomy. Now what Complete Anatomy is a app on the iPad where it's totally interactive. I don't have the subscription anymore because I'm not in anatomy. This happened like almost a year ago. Wow. It's very cool, very interactive. You have all these models. You can see like all different layers of the muscular system, the nervous system. It goes into full detail that, you know, West Coast won't really test you on, but it's good to have like a good perspective on how the anatomy of the human body looks like. You would do quizzes on there, that would be part of your grade. I used it when I was in med school, and honestly, it's a great tool. It's a great tool. And there is something called a signature assignment in the class. Basically, what that's gonna do is kind of like a case study is how I would describe it, where your professor would give you a case, and then I think there was like 10 to 12 questions, all anatomy questions about like, you know, how does this muscle work? Where is it located? Name the different muscles of the, I don't know, arm. It's very straightforward too, but it's a good part of your grade, so you want to make sure you pay attention to that. Quizzes, midterm, final, they're all multiple choice. The level of difficulty in these questions are very, in my opinion, all the same. They're not tricky. I want to talk about now how much time I actually spent studying for this class. If you have an online class, you will have that lecture time. Or if you're like me, you're going to have an online class that's completely self-paced. I had a good background of anatomy before coming into West Coast, so I was okay with the self-paced with no class time. Some people need that guidance from a professor during class like anatomy because they might struggle in it, and that's totally okay. Everyone learns differently, like how I said in my last video. I designated 4 different days of the week so that I can study anatomy, and these would be for 3-hour periods totaling 12 hours a week of studying. I like doing something called spaced repetition, and basically the concept of that is you want to see the material at different points of the week. Practice questions, whether you fail at these practice questions or succeed, will determine your next step. So say for whatever reason you got like a 50% on your practice questions. That's totally okay. You are learning. Don't beat yourself up for it, because you know this is what we're here to do, is learn. What I like to do in terms of practice questions is looking at the rationale, because they'll always have a rationale of some sort with your practice questions, whether that be through a book or your professor. If you email them, they'll probably help you out. Maybe. It depends who you have. Now, don't just go memorizing the rationales. Read it, study it, write it down, whatever you have to do. Go back to it and try to form a question out of it. Let me talk about flashcards. They're, in my opinion, a very good way to study. I know a lot of people use Quizlet, but I'm used to using Anki. Now, if you don't know what Anki is, it's basically like Quizlet in a way that it's flashcards. Just happens that I still have all my anatomy flashcards from med school when I was there, and I just basically went back at those. Now, I would really call that the overachiever method by looking at med school anatomy flashcards, because you really don't have to go that deep in detail on everything. You know, Quizlet, just as good. If you can even find people who went to West Coast who made these Quizlet flashcards. A shout out to you guys. I'm pretty sure you have helped hundreds, thousands, I don't know what number of nursing students who have taken anatomy, and you definitely saved a lot of time of some people. So yeah, find what method works for you, whether that is going to be flashcards, Quizlet versus Anki, practice questions. I feel like those are a non-negotiable. Like, flashcards are good, but I feel like if you're going to really want to get a good grade in any class you take, you must do practice questions. Leave in your comments below if you are a West Coast University student or someone who has already taken a college level anatomy course. How did you study for it? And let's share some advice with everybody so we can all help each other out. Again, this is what this channel is all for. Be sure to visit our website right over here. And there you're going to find a bunch of nursing apparel, blog posts, more detailed versions of videos I make online. So there, if you want to read more about how my experience with anatomy class was at West Coast University, go ahead and check out thescrubslife.com. Link is going to be in the description. And that's all I have for you guys today. Thank you all for watching, and remember not to hurt anyone, and to be yourself, love yourself, and do what makes you happy. Peace out, guys.
Why do I still question these lessons? Cleaning up my messes. Got confidence, no stressing. I swear to God we'll make it. I swear to God we'll make it. No one could judge me, don't care if I'm lucky. We destined for this, just me and my buddies. Not in it for money, I'm in it for loving. I'm in it for loving. Learn from mistakes, learn for the great stuff. But I hate, homie, take a break. Not a single place, you can see it on my face.
It is about 10 p.m. and what better way to spend the night but filming a video?